Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's great to see everybody out here for the first time since, I guess, signing day, February 2020, that we're all in here together. Crazy how far we've come and where everything's at, and we're all still masked up. And so, but it's good to have everybody here, not doing this all over Zoom. So we're in through our first week. I think we're at our fifth practice today. All the days are running together, but we had our third practice in half pads, and then tomorrow will be our first day in full pads. And guys are doing a great job right now of just learning how to practice. Young guys, older guys, getting back acclimated to the practice of how we're doing things. Have had good energy, good tempo, and those things. Tomorrow's going to be the real thing for us to find out how far we've come as far as getting off blocks, tackling better, running with the football, making something happen after a catch. Because we'll do some live stuff tomorrow, not a ton of it, but we'll do some live stuff. And that's, for us as coaches, we like where we're at. We think we're much better than we've been here, at least in the last 2 years. People understand the offense, understand the defense better. The fact that we've had everybody here for the winter, summer, and start of fall. We're in much better shape that respect. But tomorrow is going to be the big telling day of, can we put all those things together and be a much better, more physical, more efficient, disciplined team. So we'll open it up for questions.
Chris, good to see you again. I know you've been asked about this by, I'm sure, players, fans, recruits, whatever, but whenever the subject of Texas and Oklahoma leaving the conference does come up, and Big 12's future and Kansas State's spot in it, what is your message to those people?
Well, I haven't had a lot of those messages or a lot of those opportunities. Kansas State's still going to play football, and we're still going to play Power 5 football, and we're going to have a great schedule, and I'll let the people that are above me figure out how that's all going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen very quickly. I think this is something that all of us in the profession as coaches saw coming probably 3 years ago, even 5 years ago. I saw it coming, that there's going to be some drastic changes in the landscape of college football over the next 3 to 5 years, but it doesn't happen overnight. And so, we've told our players, many of our players probably won't even see the effect of it, to be honest with you. I don't know how long Oklahoma and Texas are going to play, if they play for 1 year or 4 years, I don't know. And we've told recruits that same thing. We're going to play Power 5 football. We're going to get a great schedule and have an opportunity to compete for championships.
And what does give you confidence that Kansas State is well positioned, regardless of what happens here?
The fact that we're committed, the administration's committed, the fan base is committed, the program's committed. We've got a new indoor coming. We've got some of the best facilities in college football, and so once again, my trying to get our guys ready to go in fall has been more my main emphasis right now. Let the other people handle that stuff, but we've got great tradition here, a tradition of excellence, of top-notch, top 25, top 15, sometimes top 10 teams, and so I think we've got a great brand here.
And a real football question here. I didn't see Sebastian run around a whole lot on Saturday whenever he was practice. What's his status when you expect him back?
Well, he started today, was his first day for us. He had surgery in December, so it's going to be a little bit of a process. He's cleared, which is positive. I just don't know if that's going to be him feeling comfortable and us feeling comfortable with him over the next 2 weeks, over the next 4 weeks. But he's making great progress, and we'll start to add more reps to his plate over the next couple of weeks and see how he responds.
And Chris, as far as realignment goes on the recruiting trail, just how much of a disadvantage do you think that can be? Just that there is that cloud of uncertainty.
I think the only disadvantage is the uncertainty. In my mind, that's the only disadvantage, is people don't know what's going to happen, but people don't know what's going to happen for the next 3 to 5 years. Control what you can control, and that's what we have right now. And right now, all those teams are playing. And once again, are they going to be playing for 3 to 4 years? I don't know. But That's the only uncertainty right now, the cloud. But we're handling it, talking to recruits. They want to come and play for K-State.
How are things going at linebacker right now? Just what have you seen so far? Who's popping for you right now?
Inside backers, like what we're having with Daniel Green, Cody Fletcher. Those guys are seasoned guys that have played a ton of football for us, and they've really started to understand things much better, playing really well. The guy that jumps out at me is Nick Allen. Nick Allen's doing a phenomenal job. Nick's, in my mind and coach's mind, is much of a starter right now as Deuce and Cody are, simply because the game has slowed down for him. He's much stronger, much quicker, understands it, and so I'm excited about what Nick's doing. And then we've got a bunch of guys, from the Austin Moores to the Eric Munoz to Henny and Wayne, that are playing some inside as well as outside. We have more depth there.
Coach, you went about 8 months without having your guys on the field, normal process, but who's kind of stepped up that probably caught your attention and that made a great deal of progress over the day?
From older guys, Nate Madlock from Olathe. He's boys, he put some weight on, some strength on. He's I think he's 240 plus now, and he's a guy that jumps out at me as somebody that has really transformed his body. Ben Sennett the same way, a young fullback tight end that came in at maybe 210 pounds, and he's 245, 250 now. That he's going to be a big factor for us. Those are just a couple guys on each side of the ball that are really young, that have really changed their bodies.
And go to the receivers right now, and what kind of a pecking order and how you feel about that position?
Well, it's hard to have a pecking order yet because of just being through a few practices and not had all the live reps and things. But Malik and Phillip take a lion's share of the reps, and that's to be expected. They're returning guys. I'm going to miss some names, but Keenan Garber's jumped out at us, done a really nice job. He's so fast, and he's put on 10 pounds. He's stronger. He's going to be a factor for us. Landry Weber, Seth Porter are really going to be mainstays for us that are really good. Cade Warner's learning the offense, but doing a nice job. Eric Hammel's getting better, learning the offense. Sebastian, once he gets into the realm, will be a good player for us. There's a lot of good young players that are coming up, the Ty Bowmans, Jalen Travis. So we have great competition there. We have more depth there, which is a positive. And so we'll see how it plays out over camp.
How radically different is the offensive line this year with all that experience gained through the trials of last year?
We're much, much better, and have much more depth and a lot more versatility. We're putting a little bit more stress on guys like Cooper Beebe, Katori Levinston, who are good enough to be in the top 5, that they have to swing and play both guard and tackle. So I'm excited about having more depth there. Carver Willis is advanced and can help us at tackle, as well as Christian Duff. Christian Duffy's the one that's staying at his spot at tackle, but then with Taylor Poitier and Ben Adler and Revis and Noah Johnson, we have so many more guys on the inside that we should be able to, and we should play 8 and 9 guys for sure. And based on a couple of young players, we could get up that closer to 10 guys playing. So we have more depth there.
Yeah, Coach, with the departure of Drew Wiley, Wyatt Hubert, what's the importance of the front 7 having a bigger impact on
Yeah, you lose a couple of great players up front, and Drew and it's tough with losing those guys. But Timmy Horn stepped in and has replaced Drew Wiley. It's hard to replace what Drew has meant to the program, but Timmy's done a nice job of that. Plus you have Eli Huggins in there, and so and Pickles stronger and more athletic, and so we feel like we're in good shape there. Losing Wyatt at defensive end, that is a drafted kid, impact guy. We're playing a lot of guys there, from Bronson Massey to Khalid Duke, and Spencer Trussell's coming along. Spencer will play a lot of football for us. We need to have guys like Nate coming along and continue to get better. Felix Anaduke is going to play a lot for us. We have depth there. I don't know if we have right now the person that's going to make those splash plays like Wyatt did, but we're going to play a lot of guys, and we're going to try to keep them fresh, both at the D tackle and the defensive end position.
Bronson Massey's been kind of in a specialty role in his previous time here. What does he have to do to emerge and bolster his play?
For us, for Bronson, it's keeping him healthy. You know, he's played a lot of football, and so we need to be smart and give him a little bit of a pitch count right now as far as how many plays he's playing, because he's had some injury issues, and he's fighting through them, and he's doing a great job. And he's a guy that is a specialty guy on the pass rush, but he's going to have to play some every down plays for us as well. But if we can keep his play count manageable. Now, I don't know what that manageable means, if that means 45, if that means 30. It just depends on how everybody else develops, because it's hard to replace Boom out there, because Bronson has that experience and understands the game so well.
And back to wide receiver, what kind of gap does Tyron Howell have to make up with his relative play arrival?
A lot, but he has unbelievable hands, and he creates separation. He has great hands. He knows how to create separation. But because he arrived here in July, he didn't get all those reps in the spring, all the reps in summer to understand the trade shift and motions that we have, and how we're reading things with the quarterback and being on the same page of the QBs. He'll work at it, and we're excited that he's here, because that kid doesn't drop any balls. I mean, he gets it in his area, and he's got strong hands, and he makes plays.
You talked a lot about the depth in a lot of different positions. 1 through 85, I know you have more than that. Is this as good as you felt about your team since you've been here?
Well, it is, because overall, when we first arrived here, there weren't any running backs on scholarship. Now we've upgraded there. We have, and a lot of guys that can play. Same thing with the offensive line, getting Noah back and having the issue of having to play so many guys because of last year's COVID. We're better there. We've upgraded from a secondary standpoint, just with depth through some transfers and some guys that have come into the program. But the mainstay is still going to be Jerron McPherson. He's going to be the one that leads it back there. So we're better because we have more bodies. We're better because when you go out there and just watch those guys in the last 3 weeks of July summer conditioning, we look bigger, we look stronger, we look more athletic. There's more guys at all those positions. And so is there a position of weakness? We're going to find out, because there always is something we have to improve on, but we're going to need to see some of these padded practices, and then, knock on wood, try to avoid an injury at a position that we could be thin at.
When we spoke to you in Arlington, you can really provide a whole lot of information on some of the new arrivals like Reggie Stubblefield and Sincere Mason, but you're going to need those guys. How comfortable are you that they're going to be up to speed by September 4th?
They will be. Reggie just gets the game. I've been really amazed at Reggie. He's playing corner for us, and he just understands the game of football, and so he just picks things up, and you don't have to tell him many things twice. He just understands it. Sincere is a little different. He's playing safety for us, which is a much more complex position to play. But watching what he's done, and Coach Klieman and I talked about this yesterday, how far he's gone in 3 or 4 days of just kind of grasping some things, and we're throwing everything at him and at the offense and defense. We tried to heavy overload the install because our fall camp is just 2 weeks, so we're trying to heavy overload the install on offense and defense. But I like what he's doing. He's got athleticism. He can move his feet. He can play man coverage. We're going to find out how well he'll do in some of the tackling stuff starting tomorrow, but he's going to play for us.
The first year you're still kind of installing your offense. Second year Skyler gets hurt and you have to play a true freshman at quarterback. Do you feel like this is the first time maybe that you'll be able to open up the entire playbook to your disposal?
Well, we have a lot more people to get the ball to as well, and we haven't had any issues of slowing down any installation because of the 2 experienced QBs coming back, as well as experienced offensive linemen coming back. If you have those two areas with experience, then you can throw more and more stuff at them. We had a couple of checks at the line of scrimmage, that one that Will made, a couple that Skylar made over the last couple days, that leads us to believe we're going to be able to put a lot on these guys' plate to be able to put us in a great situation if we call a play and it doesn't look like it's the right picture. And so we're so much further ahead at this time than we were obviously the previous 2 years. Last year, everybody knows why we weren't ahead. Our first year, we didn't install a ton. We have a ton more installation, which our offense is already difficult enough to defend with the trade shift motion. Now you do that and play it so much faster, which our guys are doing right now. I'm excited to see where we can go.
Chris, maybe the answers are different when you get to October, November, but give a sense for what your offense's personality is and what your defense's personality is right now.
Not at all. The thing that we're better right now. I know we're better right now. Competition's really good too. My concern, and I told the guys this, is we have had a really good off season. Bigger, stronger guys were able to be around each other, so we got a close-knit group of guys. Had a really good summer. All things were going well. How are we going to respond when adversity strikes? And is that adversity offense kicking the defense's tail, or defense kicking the offense's tail in practice, to losing a key player, to losing a ball game? And that's how we're going to be judged, is, can we overcome adversity? And we have really good leaders on this team. So the leadership has to rise to the occasion to find out what kind of football team we are. Are we going to air it out more? Are we going to grind it up a little bit more? Are we going to have to be a pressure team? We have to be more of a zone team? We're still trying to figure that out, just based on learning our personnel.
And maybe you partially answered this, but since you've been here, do you feel like your chemistry is as good as it has been? I guess is the locker room as good as it has been?
It is, until you hit adversity. It is, and how do we handle adversity? But with the guys that have been in the program now, and there's a bunch of them, there's 5 super seniors, but there's a bunch of them that have heard the same message through us as coaches, whether it's myself as the head coach, to Coach Mess, to Coach Klieman, to Coach Malone, to Coach Riley. They know the expectation. They know what we want out of them at practice and in meetings and in walkthrough. So it is, I think, a comfort level for those guys to say, okay, we just got to go out and execute it. They're giving us the tools. They're giving us the opportunity. And so I like where we're at, but we've got to still overcome adversity.
How pleased you seem to be with Will Howard, how realistic is it that you find ways to play him in a complementary role to Skylar this season?
We'll have to find out. Let's knock on wood that Sky stays healthy, so he can have a great senior year. But we have the utmost confidence to play Will at any time, whether that's Skylar's nicked up or a situation dictates that. It's one of those things. If Will can help us, we're going to play him the whole dang year. If we feel Skylar's playing at such a high level that we have in our back pocket that he could play 4 games and still get that year back, that's something that we have to continue to evaluate as a staff. But just like last year, the kid thought he was going to redshirt. So every week he has to prepare like, hey, I'm going to play every snap of every game, because you just never know what's going to happen in this game. So I know Will's attacking it that way as well. Like same, he came in the same way this year as he did last year. I'm going to learn and get better every day and figure out what happens. And if something happens where I'm going to be thrust into that role, I'm much more ready now this year.
On that topic too, just Skylar, does he look as good as ever, as healthy as ever right now?
Yeah, he made some plays in red zone today that were pretty special, of scrambling out and keeping a play alive. One time he ran and made a big play, and another time he threw a dart to a guy for a touchdown, and you would have thought he was running. He does a really good job of the game has slowed down so much for him. and he feels comfortable with the offensive line, and he feels comfortable knowing where certain guys are going to be, between Phillip and Malik in particular, and Landry and Seth, guys that he's worked with for a long time. Nick Lenners is healthy this year and playing at a nice level, and so I just see a comfort level out of him and a confidence level that I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
It looked like just at the open practice, Julius Brents wasn't able to go. Is there anything serious there?
No, just soft tissue that we don't think it'll be long term, but it has enabled Reggie Stubblefield, Echo Boydo, T. Denson, Justin Gardner to take all the reps, and those guys are getting a bunch better. And the main reason that a kid like T, who's going to play a lot of football for us, is T's more confident, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's heavier than he was as a true freshman. Echo's put on, I think, 12 pounds and is much stronger. Justin's put on some weight. Reggie's a fifth-year guy anyway and learning the position, but we have more depth there, and I'm excited because guys that like Echo and T, that you weren't sure, okay, are they made some splash plays, but the consistency maybe wasn't there last year. Those kids are playing at much more confident level, and so when Julius comes back, great, but he's got to have great competition because we're getting better at that spot.
And then going into the season, do you know specific number-wise where you're at vaccination-wise with the team?
I know we're over 80% now because we had a handful more that last week of July, first week of August that were able to at least get their first one. So we're not out of the woods as everybody else isn't, and so we're masked up in here for meetings. We're masked up when we go through the line to get our food and in the training room and stuff, and then we don't have them on for practice. But we still want to make sure we don't have any kind of an outbreak, whether it's a vaccinated guy or an unvaccinated. I know, there's been some vaccinated guys that have tested positive as well. So I wish we could say we're done with this, but we're not. I think we all know that, and so we just got to make sure and follow whatever protocols that our medical staff wants us to follow.
What do you see from Amaris Brown at that nickel spot in practice?
Splash plays, but inconsistent. Amaris is a phenomenal athlete. He can run. He'll strike you. He's physical. He understands the game, but he's still a true freshman in my eyes because he missed so much time. He was one that missed an awful lot of time last year through the COVID protocols, that he's still learning how our defense operates. And once it starts to slow down, and I think it will because he's a really intelligent football player, he'll play at a higher level. Right now he's making 3 or 4 unbelievably splash plays in practice and busting 2 coverages. And he understands why he busts them. And once we get that corrected, I look for a really good year out of Morris.
Do you have a good idea of who might be taking kickoffs and field goals and punting?
Open competition right now, and we're going to have some really good competition drills here in the next couple weeks. Tayton Winkle is battling Ty for the field goal job. I feel comfortable with both. Let's see who wins the job. Jack Bloomer and Ty are battling for the punting job. Chris Tennant's in there as well, a young freshman that I just need to see more of, but he's a long kid with an explosive leg. And then kickoffs, you have Ty, you have Chris, you have Tayton. Hopefully we can give Ty a break somewhere so he's not doing all 3. I know he wants to do all 3, and I love that he wants to. And he might be able to do all 3 and might be the best at all 3, but somewhere along the line we have to find somebody that can be winning one of those jobs so that Ty maybe doesn't have to do all 3. But we have really good competition, and all those guys are really good athletes.
Last one for me. Do you still see, I think Big 12 Media Days, you said something around Deuce Vaughn to touch the ball around 20 times a game. Is that still kind of what you're thinking?
We'll see, but we'd like to be in that 15 to 25, but that's not just carries. I mean, that could be a kick return. It could be a punt return. It's going to be some balls out of the backfield. It's going to be some jet sweeps. We have to find creative ways to move him around, but The only way we're gonna be able to give it to him that many times is by other people making big plays, and we're showing. I mean, Jacardier Wright's much better right now. Joe Irvin is much better right now. Clyde Price is much better right now. That helps Deuce Vaughn. And as those three guys continue to improve, it allows us to move Deuce around a little bit and play with some 2 and 3 tailback sets as well. So other people have to step up, and we feel better about having more of those guys that can be playmakers. And maybe there's a game Deuce only has a 7 to 10 touches because somebody else is making plays.
Anyone else? Ryan, do the last one.
Hey Chris, just a follow-up on the running backs. I mean, we hear so much about Deuce and Joe and Jacardier, but are there any guys beyond those three that you feel confident can really work in the rotation this year?
There's going to have to be, whether that is, Shippers is doing a nice job, and he's new. We brought him from DB to running back last year, so he's learning that position. Clyde Price is better. DJ Giddens and Devin Withers are young players that the game's just not slowed down for them, but they're both talented young players. And so, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. They're going to have plenty of opportunities because we're probably not going to hit Deuce a whole lot from a live standpoint. I want to see what some of those younger backs can do. And, Joe missing last year, I want to get him in some more live action because Joe Irvin, I don't know if he's the fastest kid on the team. He plays the fastest on the team right now. And it's fun to watch him because he is an electric kid. And man, does he go a million miles an hour. And he's a guy that we can get the ball to, and he can do some good things.
You brought up Giddens. How much of an advantage was it? You mentioned just having your son, seeing Desmond Purnell and Centennial League play, how much it helped get to watch him in the Gut City?
It does. It helps. I mean, especially last year, because all those other guys we never saw at all. And so being able to watch those kids live, it just gave me a little bit different perspective. And hopefully I can do the same thing again this year. But all of us coaches will be out, knock on wood, this year to watch games and stuff. And that's a big deal when you don't get a chance to do that. You don't really know what you're getting sometimes as they come walk in the door.
And then last thing for me was Jerron mentioned Big 12 Media Days that he talked a lot with Justin Gardner just about that. Justin felt like he had a good season last year, but he's like motivated to have a great one. Have you seen Justin make those kind of steps these last season? Do you think he could have a great year?
He can. It's consistency for JG. He's a really physical guy. He's got great length. He aggressive. He's another one of those guys that we feel better because we have more guys at corner, and Justin can be a difference maker. Absolutely, he can be, especially with his length. And let's see how it plays out over these next 3 weeks because there's going to be some really good competition at corner.
All right, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Good seeing everybody.